Hi, Dave Weiss here with the Glue Bomb Show. I was wanting to figure out exactly what I wanted to talk to you about today, and I think what I want to talk about is paint. Now, I got to admit, I'm pretty much a basic painter. I love to paint, but I don't really go into using a whole lot of other things. I usually get rattle cans of testers and the little bottles of testers, and I do most of my painting with that. But every once in a while, you get a kit, and you got to use colors that you just can't seem to find in the regular kits, and so you got to go other places. And I found one of those kits some time ago, and I thought I'd share a little bit about what happened. Okay, one of the things that I love ever since I was a little kid are panel trucks and panel wagons. I love those things. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because my dad had a 50 Dodge panel truck from the time I was born up until I was in my teens, and I just loved that thing. It was right in the middle of the custom van craze, and I had all these dreams of taking this thing and fixing it up, and of course I couldn't really conceive of how far apart it had fallen. But anyway, so I've always kind of had this thing about panel trucks, and I saw this kit. Now, this is a '53 Chevy panel wagon gasser. It's called the Drill Sergeant, excuse me, and it is a pretty cool kit. I really had a good time with it. This one is from Revell, and I just thoroughly enjoyed it. However, you see the gray paint and the green. I wanted to make this one box stock. I wanted it to look like it was on the box. And, of course, these colors were not necessarily easy to come up with, so I ended up going to my local Walmart and getting some of the Krylon spray cans that will work on plastic, and so I painted it. And I thought it came out pretty nicely. I was pretty happy with the way it painted. I was able to mask it off and get those lines pretty crisp and clean, and I'll talk to you about that in another episode. But so I painted it. And of course, it's got all these cool drag racing decals. I love drag racing decals. I think it makes them so sharp when you put all these decals on. And then one of the things that I like to do afterwards is I like to spray a clear coat over the decals. It helps to seal them down, and it makes it a little shinier. Of course, this one really isn't made for shine. This is more of a matte finish, and so that's what I did. But there was a problem, and this is something I want to advise you about. I painted these in the, I think it was Krylon, I'm not positive anymore, but anyway, it was one of those. And then I used a clear coat that was from some basic model paint. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see this real clearly, but it did this kind of orange peeling thing right in here. And man, it just broke my heart. And I was really fortunate that it didn't do it on a lot of the car. Basically, the car is pretty good otherwise, but on both sides of the hood, it really orange peeled. And so anyway, here's my advice. Whatever you start with, finish with. In other words, if you decide to shoot your car in Krylon, then get a Krylon clear coat to put over it. If you're going to start it in testers, clear coat it in testers. One other thing while I'm on this subject, people sometimes ask the question, when do you do the clear coat? Please don't clear coat over windows. Do your clear coat and put your decals on. I know the order that it gives you in the instructions. Sometimes we have to walk away from that. I'm going to share more about that in another episode too. But before you put the glass in, spray the clear coat. Because the clear coat, at least all the ones that I've experienced with, they will make a mess of your glass. So put the glass in after you clear coat your kit. So that's one of the big tips for the day. The other one is this. Make sure that it is thoroughly dry. Give it a couple days. I know we like to get these things done, and sometimes we're on a building roll, and we like to keep going. But I've already masked kits, and the paint wasn't thoroughly set up. It was dry. It was dry to the touch. But when I put the masking tape on, it peeled it because it wasn't securely bonded. So make sure that when you paint your kit, if you're going to mask it especially, make sure that it's cured a good 3-4 days first. I will give you the other tip while we're at it. As far as masking areas goes, what I like to do is I'll lay down one color and then I'll tape. And before I start laying down the other color, what I will do is I will spray over that tape with the same color before I put the other color over it. And the reason for that is this. If there's going to be any bleed under on the tape, it'll be the same color as the part that I taped over. I'm hoping that makes sense. I'll probably do an illustration of it at some point. But the idea is simple. If you're going to have bleed under, you want the color to bleed under to be the same one that's already there. So if you shoot a coat of that first and then shoot your other color, you're going to end up with a more successful paint job. So I hope that's helpful, and I'll see you next time.